Don't you want to order seeds that you know are going to sprout and that you know they're going to work for you where you live? They're just meant for your garden. If you're a new gardener, that can be overwhelming. And if you're a seasoned gardener like me, well, you get dazzled with those seed catalogs and you end up ordering too much, or you may even order things that are never going to grow where you live anyway. I'm going to show you how to research the vegetables that are best for you, the tried and true vegetables that you just can't go wrong with. And I'll share some experiments that I've done, and I'll show you how you can add experiments to your garden along with those tried and true vegetables.
All I have needs I have not provided.
And I'm not the only one that thinks this way. My friend, Texas Garden Doc, has this to say.
Hi, I'm Doc, and welcome to my garden. Thank you, Debbie, for having me, by the way. Now, when it comes to choosing varieties, there's something you've got to let go as a gardener, and I learned the hard way. I spent many years trying to grow all the things I saw in the grocery store, the things I love to eat out of the grocery store, and that's fine, except that sometimes those exact varieties don't grow well for you. It wasn't until about 5 years ago that I really changed the varieties I was growing, and I really went all in the last 2 years, and it's changed everything for me. I can get tomatoes all year round. I can get cucumbers all the time. It's because of variety. Don't try to grow what's in the grocery store. Grow what you love, but grow a variety that works in your area. Thank you, and back to you, Debbie.
It's the beginning of January, and I know that I have to start my tomatoes now so that I can transplant them by the 1st of March. Your area may be totally different from mine. So where I get that information of when I need to plant and what type of vegetables I need to plant, I find that useful information at the local extension office. My extension office is directly linked to the University of Florida. They're very reliable. They help farmers all across this state. They're not going to give them wrong information. I've used them for years. So find your local extension office. They'll either print out a chart for you, or you can get it online. Now that you've got that information, the big question is, where do you get your seeds from? How do you know that the company that you're ordering from is reliable? Well, I'll tell you from experience. 30 years ago, when I started gardening, we didn't have all these seed catalogs, and if we did, I wasn't aware of them. I just got in the car and went downtown to a local farm and seed store, and I asked them for corn seed. Sweet corn, white corn, or yellow corn. And how much do I want? Do I want a can full or a half a can full? And what about small seeds like tomatoes? Do I want a little scoop or a big scoop? Or a half an ounce or an ounce? It was really that easy. They sold only those things that would grow where I live. So if you have any of those stores still around where you live, even if you have to travel a little bit to get to it, they're a really good source for you to get your seeds. It would be a rare thing for them to sell seeds that aren't viable. After all, they're supplying all the farmers and growers in their area, so they're not going to take that risk and sell you bad seeds. The next recommendation I have are, unfortunately, I have to recommend the larger seed companies. Johnny's Seeds, Southern Exposure Seeds, Baker Creek, M.I. Gardner, it's Michigan Gardener. You can find him on YouTube. He's a real good source of information. They have a really good reputation for giving you a good amount of seeds for the amount of money that they want for the seeds. And they are going to be a high percentage of sprouting viability. I took a risk last year, and I bought seeds from a little known company, a couple of them actually, and I'm not going to show you their name because one company, that I ordered the seeds from, they didn't even sprout. Another company, only a couple of them sprouted. The third company, about half of them sprouted. And finally, my own seeds that I had saved from previous crops that I had let go bolt and go to seed, and I saved the seeds. A lot more of those sprouted than the other two that I had spent a lot of money on. It's a tough lesson to learn, and I hate that experience from a small seed company is going to taint my desire to order from another small company. But you decide. Just be real careful and read the reviews, and if they don't have any, I don't know what to tell you. It's buyer beware. If you're perusing through Victory Seeds or Baker Creek or Southern Exposure or Johnny Seeds, MI Gardener, check and see where the seed was developed. If I see that a seed was developed way up in the Northeast, well, I could experiment with it, but chances are that variety is not going to do well where I live in Florida. If I see that it was developed in a more southern state, I'm willing to take the risk. If I see that the seed was developed by the University of Florida, you better believe I'm going to trust it. That's where I live. That's the variety of seed that I want. I wanted to change up my tomato varieties after many years of growing tomatoes. You see, my experiment was to find out, could I grow a whole lot of determinate tomatoes that'll put their tomatoes out all at once and I can get the harvest done and over with before the hot weather sets in. You see, the indeterminate tomatoes continue to grow and blossom throughout the summer months. But the trouble is, tomatoes are self-pollinating, as are other varieties of vegetables, but specifically tomatoes will stop self-pollinating once the evening temperatures stop dropping below 80 degrees. And that can happen as early as mid-May here where I live in Florida. It could stretch to June, but usually by May they're done. And so you've got these tomato plants that aren't producing anymore. I would rather have the determinants that are going to put out a whole lot all at once. So I found a tomato that's determinate, and guess what? It was developed by the University of Florida, and it's called Floridade. It put out a bunch of tomatoes, and because it's wintertime, they're not getting ripe, but my experiment is done. I'm okay if they don't get ripe. I'm going to start them again right here, and I know they're going to work for the springtime. The other variety that I ended up with that are determinate and they put out tomatoes all at once, it's called Tomatoes on the Vine from my grocery store. I saved the seeds, and lo and behold, they made a great tomato plant and they did really well in my garden. So I'm on about the 4th or 5th generation of Tomatoes on the Vine. I don't know what the real name of them are. That's how they're advertised in the grocery store. Those are the 2 tomatoes that I'm going to grow this year. I love Italian tomatoes, but it takes a ton of them to make a quart of canned tomatoes. I need something that's going to really work for me. This is how I save my tomato seeds. I just open them up and smear them on a paper towel. This is a small yellow pear that I saved from North Carolina. It was great in North Carolina. It grew, but the tomatoes weren't very tasty here. I should have known better. I've done that experiment before with other North Carolina tomatoes. They're beautiful in North Carolina, but not here. This is just a medium tomato that came up in my garden and I liked it, so I kept it. Volunteer Compara. Compara tomatoes will reproduce really well. And then here is Volunteer Slicing. Those are my medium ones that I was telling you about. Everglades, Well, that's a joke. You don't need to save Everglades tomato seeds unless you're trying to give some away, because they'll come up all over your garden the next year. And when you plant these, you just peel them off, or if they don't come off easy, you can peel off the whole piece of paper with it and just put them in there. Saves a lot of money. Save your own seeds from tomatoes. It's very, very easy. Very easy to, by your third or fourth generation. Hi, Mr. B. Oh, nice. Okay, go away. So this whole tray is going to have tomato plants coming up, and probably about 75% of them will actually live to produce a good bearing plant. Once you order your seeds, if you have any left, or if you're saving your seeds, be sure you store them in the freezer. Now I'll put mine in an envelope, and then I'll put these little envelopes in a large plastic envelope, just so that they're double sealed to ensure that they're going to stay fresh for the next season. And this is just a little trick that I learned a long time ago. It's so easy to bury these little seeds too deep, so just sprinkle a little bit over the top. Especially those teeny tiny seeds of oregano and basil. I'm getting ready to prepare my garden beds. I discovered a method that was a real game changer for me, and it was free. So I'm going to share it with you. That video is coming up soon, so be sure you subscribe and turn on your bell notifications. And if you give it a good green thumbs up, that really helps my channel. I really appreciate it. I bet you know that not everything we grow in our garden starts from seeds. My friend, Texas Garden Doc, grows ginger, and he is the master of growing ginger. You got to check out his video right here.
Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me.